I am 78 years old, and I am standing in the doorway of a bedroom that no one has ever slept in. Look at it. Go ahead. Look at this bed. The sheets are fresh. I wash them Sunday, like I do every Sunday. Hospital corners, so tight you could bounce a nickel off them. 2 pillows, fluffed, centered, not a single crease, because not a single head is ever pressed into them. There's a folded blanket at the foot of the bed, turned down at the corner, like this is some 5-star hotel waiting for a guest to check in. The curtains are pulled open so the morning light comes in and hits everything just right, and you can see how perfect it all is. You can also see that nothing in this room has ever been touched by anyone but me. I spray the linens with lavender every Sunday. The whole room smells like a lie, like someone is expected, like someone is coming. Nobody is coming. Behind me there's a hallway that stretches 40 feet. I'm not exaggerating. I measured it once out of boredom, out of the kind of sad, pathetic boredom that fills your days when your house has 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a theater room, a 3-car garage, and exactly 1 heartbeat in it. Mine, just mine, echoing off marble floors that cost more than most people's cars. I built a 7,000 square foot house. I built it with pride. I built it with ambition. I built it with every penny I clawed out of 40 years of work. And nobody sleeps here but me. This house was supposed to be my masterpiece. Let me take you back. I was 43 when I started planning it. 43 and full of the kind of fire that makes a man dangerous. Not because he's cruel, but because he's convinced he's doing the right thing. I had blueprints spread across the kitchen table of our old house, the small house, the 3-bedroom ranch where we were actually a family. And I would sit there for hours with a pencil and a ruler, redesigning the future. My wife, Diane, she'd come in and look at the plans and say things like, "Do we really need a formal dining room and a breakfast nook?" And I'd say, "Diane, this isn't just a house. This is a legacy." I actually said that, legacy. Like my children were going to grow up and bring their kids to this place and tell them, "Your grandfather built this." Like the square footage was going to make them proud. Like granite countertops were going to make them feel loved. The lie I believed was simple, and it was this: if I built something big enough, they would always want to come back. If the house was impressive enough, they'd never leave. If every room was perfect, every fixture polished, every detail exact, then this place would be a magnet, a gravitational center. I thought the house itself could hold a family together. I thought the building was the bond. So I built. I argued with contractors over ceiling heights. I agonized over tile patterns. I upgraded the pool twice. I installed a home theater with reclining leather seats and surround sound. I put in a wine cellar, and I don't even drink wine. I did all of this while my 2 sons and my daughter were growing up in the background like scenery I kept meaning to look at. I remember giving tours to the neighbors when we first moved in. I walked them through every room with my chest out. Look at this kitchen. Look at this master bath. Look at this view. And my kids would be trailing behind with these tight little smiles, the kind of smile you give when you're supposed to be impressed, but you just feel small. I didn't see those smiles for what they were. I thought they were proud. They weren't proud. They were shrinking. Diane kept the peace for years. She hung family photos on walls I'd picked out for their paint color, not their warmth. She cooked meals in a kitchen designed for entertaining, not for a mother making mac and cheese with her kids on a Tuesday. She adapted. She survived my monument. And then one day she looked at me across that 12-seat dining table, just the two of us eating in silence, and she said, "This house has never felt like mine." She didn't leave, she stayed, but something in her left that night, and I pretended I didn't hear it. The kids did leave, one by one, and they didn't come back the way I imagined. They didn't bring their families to the big house for holidays. They didn't sit in the theater room and watch movies together. They made their own lives in their own small apartments. And when I'd call and say, "Come home for Christmas," they'd say, "Maybe, Dad, maybe." The most devastating word in the English language when it comes from your own child. Now let me tell you about the Thanksgiving that broke me. You need to hear this. 4 years ago, I decided this was the year I'd bring everyone together. I planned it for weeks. I roasted the turkey myself because Diane had passed 2 years before, and I thought doing it myself was some kind of tribute to her. I seasoned it the way she used to, sage and rosemary, rubbed butter under the skin, put it in the oven at 6 in the morning and let the smell fill every corner of this enormous empty house. I set the dining room table for 12 place settings, the good china, the cloth napkins. I put out wine glasses, even though half my kids don't drink. I bought flowers, real ones, white lilies, and put them in a crystal vase in the center of the table. I made up every bed in the house with fresh sheets in case they wanted to stay the night. I imagined them walking through the front door, smelling the turkey, seeing the table, and feeling that thing, that pull that says, "This is home." I called Michael first, my oldest. He said, "Dad, we're doing Thanksgiving with Linda's parents this year. We already committed." His voice was polite, distant, like he was talking to a neighbor he barely knew. I said I understood. I didn't understand. I called James, my middle son. He said he was traveling, some trip with friends. He didn't even say where. "Maybe Christmas, Dad." There was that word again, maybe. Then I called Sarah, my youngest, my baby girl. And Sarah has always been the honest one, the one who doesn't coat things in polite. She was quiet for a moment when I told her about Thanksgiving, and then she said something that went through my chest like a blade. She said, "Dad, that house doesn't feel like home. It never did." I didn't respond. I couldn't. She said, "It feels like a showroom. It feels like a place where you're afraid to leave a glass on the counter. It feels like your project, not our home." "I'm sorry, Dad." She hung up. I stood in the kitchen with the phone still against my ear. The turkey was browning in the oven. I could hear the fat sizzling through the oven door. The smell of sage and rosemary, the smell I thought would bring them back, was filling a room meant for 12 people and reaching no one but me. I walked into the dining room, 12 place settings, 12 empty chairs, candles lit, flames standing perfectly still because there was no breath in the room to disturb them. No laughter, no arguing over a bread roll, no kids bumping elbows, no Diane rolling her eyes at my bad jokes, just white lilies in a crystal vase and the tick of the dining room clock marking time that nobody else was sharing with me. I sat down at the head of that table. The chair at the other end, Diane's chair, was pulled out slightly, like it was waiting for her. I'd done that without realizing it, force of habit. And I sat there with the turkey going cold and the candles burning for nobody, and the rosemary-scented air turning heavy in my lungs, and I understood for the first time what I'd built. I hadn't built a home. I'd built a monument to my own ego. I'd built something designed to impress, not to hold. Every upgrade, every renovation, every polished surface was for me, for my reflection, for strangers to admire, not for tiny hands on the walls, not for sock slides on hardwood floors, not for the mess and noise and beautiful chaos that makes a house breathe. I sat at that table until the candles burned down to nothing. I didn't eat. I couldn't. That was 4 years ago. Nothing has changed. The bed in the guest room is still made. Every Sunday I strip those sheets, wash them, dry them, fold them back over that mattress with the kind of precision that has replaced love in my life. I tuck the corners. I fluff the pillows. I fold the blanket down. I open the curtains. And then I step back and look at it, this perfect, untouched, useless room, and I close the door until the next Sunday. Every room in this house looks like a museum exhibit. The theater room still has plastic on one of the recliners because nobody has ever sat in it. The pool filter hums outside, cycling water that nobody swims in. I hear it at night through the window, that mechanical hum. It sounds like the house breathing, but it's not alive. Nothing in here is alive. I walk through these hallways and I hear my own footsteps on the marble. Every step echoes. And you know what I think about every time I hear that echo? Diane wanted hardwood, she told me. She said marble is cold, it's slippery, it doesn't feel like a home. And I said marble looks better. I chose what looked impressive over what felt warm. I chose the echo over the embrace. That's what I did for 40 years, and this house is the receipt. The property is worth $2.3 million. Every room is immaculate. The landscaping is pristine. And it is the loneliest place on the face of the earth. Now I'm going to talk to you specifically, the one watching this right now. You're planning a renovation, aren't you? You're upgrading the kitchen. You're finishing the basement. You're adding a deck because you think that's going to be the thing that brings them over. You think if the house is nice enough, if the guest room is comfortable enough, if the backyard is impressive enough, They'll come. They'll stay. They'll want to be there. They won't. The kitchen was never the problem. The deck is not the solution. Your kids don't remember the countertops. They don't care about the countertops. They remember whether you sat down with them. They remember whether you asked about their day or talked about your square footage. They remember whether the house felt like theirs or like yours. They remember warmth, not the thermostat kind, the human kind, the kind you can't install. Stop building monuments. Start building moments. Cancel the renovation. Pick up the phone, not to invite them to your showroom, to ask them how they're doing, to say, I'm sorry the house never felt like yours, to say, tell me what home would have felt like to you. Have the awkward dinner. Have it at their tiny apartment with paper plates and cheap wine and a card table. That's home. That's what I missed. That's what marble and granite and 7,000 square feet could never replicate. You still have time. That's the difference between you and me. You still have someone who might pick up the phone. You still have a Thanksgiving that hasn't happened yet. Don't you dare waste it designing a room. Spend it being in one, with them. I'm standing in this doorway again, looking at this bed. The sheets are clean. The pillows are fluffed. The blanket is folded. The curtains are open. The room is ready. Nobody's coming. Don't build my house.